Leo, just on your team selection, I suppose an interesting point is Hugo Keenan playing at full back with Jordan Larmour moving out to the wing. What was the thinking behind that?
Well, they're probably the two 15s in the squad. So obviously Jordan has played at 15 over the last couple of weeks, but it's just something that we want to see. We've seen Hugo play 15, and we've seen Jordan on the wing, so we just want to see what this combination looks like. It's a small alteration. I wouldn't read a huge amount into it. And playing on the wing probably gives Jordan a little bit more freedom to roam, and something that comes quite naturally to him anyway. Obviously, he's played before for us a lot of games on the right wing. So we wouldn't see it as a major alteration, but Hugo's probably played a lot more at 15 as well coming through. So when Hugo came into the team originally, you see it was replacement when Dave Carney got injured. So this is just something we want to have a look at.
Is there any update as well on Dan Levy?
The update is he's getting closer every day. So yeah, hopefully he's not a million miles away. Well, I'm not sure we'll have done enough by next week, but certainly he's getting closer all the time.
So should we expect to see him, let's say, before maybe the Six Nations? I don't know, will he even be in contention that, but do you expect to see him back by mid-October, let's say?
I think what we are, start of October. Yeah, that would be the hope, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And obviously Johnny Sexton starting there, was he very eager to play in this game and I suppose try and run out the disappointment of that defeat to Saracens?
Yeah, it's just saying to Marcus here, it's bloody strange, isn't it? Like round one of Pro 14. Normally you're playing your pre-season games, obviously you come off the back of a very disappointing loss in such a big game on a big stage. So it's good that in many ways that we have a game that we're back up and running. But yeah, we're looking forward to getting going. I think Johnny's keen to keep going and play, as is a lot of other players amongst the group. But yeah, we'll see however it goes.
Just a final one for me, just on Ty Furlong. Stuart was talking about him at the start of the week, so it's not as serious that other injury that he's picked up. So you hope to see him back again in a few weeks, is that right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, Ty is. It's just lots of little things, unfortunately, that have just stalled his return. He's got close on a couple of occasions, so he's had a few false starts really. But yeah, he's close to getting back. So he hopefully will feature in terms of similar to those timelines you mentioned around Dan. So whatever teams obviously that is with, I'm not quite sure yet, but he's making progress and nearly there.
Leo, I suppose you've hardly had any time to sort of it's been 3 weeks since you won the Pro 14 title. I know it's been the most unusual of years, but talk to me about that kind of the preparation, I suppose, from winning the Pro 14 at the Aviva Stadium a number of weeks ago to starting fresh now straight away at the RDS. There's been no sort of real sort of time to reflect on that, really.
No, it's we had a few days of reflection. And yeah, I suppose off the back of the Pro 14, which was a successful finish to the season of that campaign, we didn't have much time to reflect or dwell on that because we were straight into quarterfinals. And off the back of the quarterfinals, dealing with the disappointment of that game. And we've been on a decent run up until that point. And just feels like it all came crashing down on top of us. So then you've just got to try and pick yourself back up again. And normally the season would end and people go their separate ways and there's a bit of turnover. We had that earlier in the season when we had the lockdown, so that almost felt like the end of the season. So it's a very unusual situation that we're in. And other teams are in, will have to go through something similar. It was certainly our plan to have played a semi-final last week, and what we would have done around selection for this week and next week maybe would have tweaked slightly, because we would have been hoping to get ready for a Champions Cup final, and mostly that's not to be now. So we just need to turn to the new challenge, and the new challenge is starting the Pro 14 campaign or whatever Pro Rugby campaign on a strong footing. And we're at home at the RDS, and it's been a while since we played a game at the RDS, so we're all keen just to get going now and put in a good performance, and just get back at it, get back at doing what we enjoy, which is preparing for games and playing games and dealing with that day to day. So again, it's a game behind closed doors because of the state of play in level 3 lockdown in Dublin at the moment, but hopefully it won't be too long. It's encouraging to see some supporters being at the game up in Ulster this weekend. So we'll see obviously how that goes, and it's just another step on the way to getting back to playing in front of crowds, I guess. But for our point of view, what we can control? We can control, trying to prepare well this week, making sure we get over the disappointment. It's easier said than done, because it meant a huge amount to the players, everyone involved in the club. In terms of that game against Saracens, unfortunately, we came up short in the day. We've tried to pull that apart and learn the lessons from that, and now we're trying to implement a few things as we face into a different challenge now. So it's very much Dragons focus, and we'll see where we sit after that, and we'll review that next week and move on from there.
Leo, what did you take out of the A game against Ulster last week?
A little bit mixed, yeah. We were disappointed with the level of performance. Again, it's important to have a little bit of context as well. So there's players coming from different spots really. A lot of guys haven't played rugby in a long time. So it's very much like the way you'd assess a pre-season game. So you're trying to get a gauge, and from a senior point of view, we were trying to merge some of the senior guys with some of the academies. So that is a challenge in itself. And then we were trying to restrict some guys we just wanted 40 minutes for some guys and other guys coming off the bench. So it is a bit messy in that regard. So you definitely still pick up plenty from some of the individual performances. It was the first look for a lot of our coaches at some of the academy players, particularly the younger academy players. A number of guys have been out of action for a long time now. So, but it was important to get the game minutes. I think it's important because it's been a bit disruptive because of, obviously we have our bubble here, senior bubble. Recently we merged the academy bubble. They've been down in Energia Park up until recently, so we've merged those two together and trying to get that group working together now. So even today, we did a mix of a session with some of those academy guys and some of the senior guys that would have been involved over recent weeks that obviously aren't involved today. Some senior players you can try and figure out the names, but it was good for that, just to get that level of integration, that level of cohesion together, because it's something that we spend a lot of time doing normally, but because of the separate bubbles, that's been a real challenge for us because we've been operating out of two different centres. So yeah, as we enter into this period of October, November time, that's going to become more and more important because we like to use that as a real strength of ours. It's not something that happens overnight. A huge amount of work goes into it, and I think you probably saw over the course of the game, the Ulster A game, whereas they look like the more cohesive team than we did. If I'm being perfectly honest, that's what it looked like. So yeah, we pulled apart that game similar to the way we would a senior game.
Yeah. Any of the younger players impress you? Any of the academy players impress you, do you think?
Yeah, no, a few guys definitely did put their hand up, which is good. Touchdown O'Brien looked lively and powerful off the bench. Andrew Smith as well. So it's good to see someone like a Dave Hawkshaw coming back and playing his first game. And I think back to he got injured before Dan Levy, I think, did his ACL. So he's been out for what, good to 18 months. Yeah, so great to see someone like that back. But again, that's to give you a bit of context of the game. With guys coming back in after such long layoffs, it's tricky because you're never sure. Again, the cohesion of the opposition and what sort of team they have out as well. So overall, again, it's valuable minutes, and it gives us a look at guys as well in a slightly different pressurised environment as well.